Okay. Oops. Okay, good morning. We are at Tavkuf Samech Chet, Halacha Beis. Hanoder latzum asara yamim be'ezi yom shiyirtzeh. So a person makes a neder. He's going to fast for 10 days. V'haya mit'ana b'yom echad mehem, and he was fasting. V'hutzrach hadavar mitzvah, and he had to do a mitzvah. O mipnei kavod adam gadol, and he needed to eat for a davar mitzvah, or for somebody important, such as bris milah, siyum masechet, pidyon habein, things like that. So then what happens? O shemitzta'er, or he doesn't feel good. Hareze lover ufareya yom acher. So then he can, right? You made a neder originally for 10 days, whatever you want, and now you make your Kabbalah to do it. So now you can just switch your days. Eat now when you need to, and then you'll make it up another day. Shehare lo kavah hayamim mitchilat haneder. Because when you make your neder, you didn't specify which days. You just said stam, right? We'll discuss this already. You just made a stam neder, and now you did a Kabbalah later to choose which day it's going to be. So from a Kabbalah you can switch. But about im lo kibalav kodem, no. But if you did make a neder for a specific day, so then you have to keep it unless you're really sick, or you have to keep it. Okay. Fine. The Mishnah Berurah says you still need to fast a little bit more than what you're used to. Even if you're going to eat, I don't know, just according to Mishnah Berurah, and he even says, so you can, even if someone really needs, for a friend or a family member, they're making a suda, and even if it's not a davar mitzvah, and they really want you to eat there, mipnei darchei shalom, also you're allowed to. Okay, fine. All right, okay. And in this case, you don't have to make hadaras nedarim, right? Because you're just changing a Kabbalah, you're not changing the neder for that day. Aval im lo kibel alav kodem lachein lihitanos yom echad. Ela b'mincha kibel alav lihitanos lemachar. But if you never made a previous neder, if you didn't make a previous, if the case is, this is what he's saying, if the case is at the mincha right before, during davening, you made a Kabbalah and a neder at the same time, right? You're not making a Kabbalah for a previous neder. Your Kabbalah is the neder at the same time. So then, mikrei tained zeh ve'enu yachol avoso. So then that means that you made a neder for that day and you have to keep. Haga v'kol shekein yom zeh mamish kegon shamar b'chilas nidro et ane yom ploni or et ane sheni v'chamishi kol hashana or chadom alezeh. So too, if you make a belashon neder for a particular day or every Monday and Thursday for the entire year, so then you have to keep your neder. Okay. V'chein, and so too, imaya ta'anit chalom ene yachol avoso. Also, if it's a ta'anit chalom, that also is very powerful. You can't switch it to another day. Mishnah Berurah adds also a yortzeit. It's tied to a specific day, so you can't just switch it. Okay. Haga, b'kol shekein she'eni yachol avot v'lifroa ta'anit tzibor. Certainly a ta'anit tzibor, you can't just decide on your own to switch. Miu ta'anit sheni v'chamishi v'sheni shenohagim litanot achar Pesach v'sukkos. But not b'lashon neder. Just the minhag is, you guys, this kila, you decided to keep sheni v'chamishi as a minhag. Oh, afilu ba'aseres yemei tshuva during the days of aseres yemei tshuva. Ve'era behem bris milah, you have a bris milah. So then mitzvah lechol, no, it's a mitzvah to eat. Ve'ein sari chatara, and you don't have to do a taras nedarim. This is basically a review of what we just said. Ki lo nagu litanos b'chai gavna, because the community, you never accepted as a minhag to fast on these days and miss out on the meal or on the sudas mitzvah.
Is this with the neder as well?
No, so if you made b'lashon neder, you have to keep it. But if it's just the tzibur goes there, or you decided to accept it upon yourself through a minhag, or you said, I'm going to fast. But if you do it b'lashon neder, you have to keep exactly as you say. And that's a neder deraisa. Aval im sholchin lo leveso ein lo le'echol. Now, the only time you can eat if you go to a Sudas Mitzvah is if you eat at the Sudas Mitzvah. You can't just pop in, grab some food, and go eat at home. That's not good enough. Okay. And it's machlokas if a pidyon bein is in its proper time or not. If that's enough of a Sudas Mitzvah, so I'll just leave that as a tzarachiyim. Okay. And now, if you're just invited to someone's Sudas Mitzvah, you can only eat once the Sudas Mitzvah begins. If you're one of the, let's say it's a bris, so the parents, the mohel, and the sandik, so he can eat all day, because that's for the whole day, it's a Yom Tov for them. Okay, fine, let's go on.
So it's a mechanism similar to Tanis B'chayros?
Tainus Bechoros. I think so.
If
Yeah.
you're a B'char, you have to fast for
Right.
unless you
Actually, you're at the Suda. Yeah, same thing. Exactly, same thing. Perfect.
It knocks it off.
Yes. In kibel alav a tainus b'mincha. Now, if you accept the tainus at mincha time, tzarich li'idano, so then you have to fast. Yesh omrim she'im mitzta'er harbe b'tanisa yachol yivdota b'mamon. Now, anytime you make you make yourself a tainus that you need to fast for, so some say you can always be podeh with giving money, v'hu adin b'ones acher, or some kind of other onus, because when a person gives from his money, it also hurts his it also is makri from his chaylev and from his dam, and he gives it to the aniyim. So some say that also and that sa'ar it's a fair trade-off. Okay, v'nire dafka b'kiba alav tanid ba'alma. So the Rama says that's if you just accept upon yourself a fast, then you can just give money and you're good to go. Aval im kiblo derech neder tzarich l'kayam nidro. But if you make a neder deraisa, you specify a neder, you're going to fast on a particular day. You can't just say, you know what, I'm going to pay some money and get out of it. Okay. Gimel. Mi shenadar lihitanos kach ta'anios. If a person says, I'm going to make a neder, I'm going to fast for a number of days, but you don't specify which day, even though if you're in the summertime, yachol itchotam ad yemei acharef. You're allowed to push it off into winter. Why? Because the days are shorter, and it'll be easier for you. But that's okay, because you didn't specify long days and short days. A day is a day. V'yachol ilvot yom aruch l'shalim yom katzar d'chol echad mikre yom. And you can switch from one day to another, from a short day to a long day, or vice versa, and because a day is a day. Okay. The Mishnah Berurah just points out to Magen Avraham is that it should only be done if it's an onus, because it's not good it's not proper to push off a neder. Right? It's always, the proper thing is when you have a chance to do something good or a mitzvah, to take care of it as soon as possible. But as far as the halachas of nadarim are concerned, mi'ikar din, it works. Okay. That no one argues.
As long as you don't go past 3 shalosh or
so could be. When we get to Halachas Nadarim, we'll see about how about Acher. I'm not sure. Dalet yesh misha omer sheshnei yamim ushnei leilos retzufim yesh lashvotam la'arba'im ta'aniyos she'enam retzufim. So some say that 2 days in a row and 2 nights in a row. So then that counts as 40 days. That are, if it would be a normal 40 random days, you do 2 days in a row, including the nights, so then that counts.
It's more dangerous.
Could be, I don't know. It was done, I'm not sure.
No, yeah, there are people that have done.
Okay, Mishnah Berurah just says it's good to do an extra 2 hours before. And if you get an extra 2 hours, then it's the gematria of 74. Shuva Yisrael ad Hashem Elokecha. Okay, but you don't have to. Okay. Haga.
2 days and 2 nights is 48 hours. How do you get the 74?
Yeah,
It'll be
because
3
if
days. That'd be 3 days plus 2 hours is 74.
We'll see in a minute. We'll see in a minute.
Okay.
I'm not. You have to think about that. Saying, I think he says 1 hour before and 1 hour afterwards.
Yeah, well,
Counts.
talks about 3 days.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Haga. V'yesh omrim de ba'adam chalash sagilo b'shnei yamim retzufim. So if you're weak, 2 days. Some say 2 days is enough.
Without the nights, or with the night?
With the night. To count as 40, you need the night. Aval adam bari shlosha yamim. But if it's a healthy person, no, then you need the 3 days. And that's what the Mishnah Berurah was talking about. Thank you. That was the 74th from 72. V'nirali. Dekol ze lo mayri ela b'mish mitchayev latzum 40 yam she'enom retzufim mikoach tshuva kadei litzdar. So the Rama explains, hold on, you have to understand the statement that the Shulchan Aruch quotes correctly. That's only if you're accepting upon yourself 40 days because you want to do tshuva. Not if it's a lashon of neder. V'az mashvinan haitzar lahaitzar. Then you can do one tsar for another tsar. That's when it talks about person, says a statement he wants to keep or he wants to accomplish keeping 40 days. Right? Or if you want to make certain tikkunim for tshuva, and the tikkun is 40 days, so that's when it works. However, but if a person made a neder daraisa 40 days, so 40 days is 40 days, and tzarich l'kayim mashen adar, you have to keep exactly as you said. It's the same thing as the halachas. You can't just make up one day for another. And so when it comes to a neder, even when you say you could do that, you can't do that when it comes to a neder, including here. Kol shekain 40 yom shelifnei yom kippurim shemit'ana lezecher aliyas Moshe bahar. And certainly, if a person does a neder to keep 40 days beforehand, so just like Moshe kept the full real 40 days, so too you have to keep the real 40. Moshe also kept the nights. And anyways, shemi shekiblam alav she'ein lahem tashlumim b'shnayim o shlosha yamim retzufim. Okay. So therefore, you can't just make it up. You can't switch the days in different fashion. Okay. And he says you should actually, Mishnah Berurah says you should really, if you're going to make a neder for 40 days, and usually I don't know how many people do this, if you're going to make a neder for 40 days, you want to start already from Tu B'Av, because you're not going to be missing a lot of days. You're not going to want to fast on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh, etc. So you need actually extra than 40 to start. Okay, hey. Hamisane tanit chalom b'yom tov o b'chol moed o b'rosh chodesh o b'chanukah b'purim o b'erev yom kippurim. So all these days are not days to be fasting, right? If a person makes a tainis chalom for on a yom tov, chol moed, rosh chodesh, chanukah, purim, or the day before Yom Kippur, so then you eat. Tzarich take it back. Tzarich lemeitav tanita letanitei kedin hamitane tanit chalom b'Shabbos. So if you make a tanit chalom or an absolute neder, then you have to keep it. Even if it's on one of these days, you do have to fast. Just like if you make a tainis chalom on Shabbos, you have to. But, kanasir, not only do you have to fast on that day for the tanit chalom, now you have to fast an extra day later on, maybe during the week, whatever, for the fact that you fasted on one of these days that you're not supposed to be fasting. Vav. Ein tanis tzibur b'bav el'asar b'mlacha l'afsik m'vad yom ela tisha b'av bilvad. For a tanis tzibur, there's no iser to do work and to stop from mimba od yom except Tisha B'av. Tisha B'av is the only public fast, and we know Yom Kippur, but tanis tzibur from Chazal is the only time that you have to start from the night before, from Shkia, is Tisha B'av. Hilkach, Yachid shekibel alav tanit, if an individual accepts upon himself a tainus, lo chayshinan shematani tzibur kibel alav umutar bechulan. So basically, he's allowed to keep. He just starts in the morning, and he doesn't start from, and everything else is mutter. And okay, and all the other things are mutter that we keep on Tisha B'av. Umikol makom lechatchila tov lomar bishat kabbalas tainis harini b'tanet yachid lefanecha machar. But the best thing to do is to specify that it's a tainis yachid and not a tainis tzibur, because there is one tainis tzibur that starts the night before. It's best just to specify that you're doing a proper tainis yachid and you're starting tomorrow, which is in the morning. And Umaysa, this applies to everybody. It doesn't matter where we live in the world, it's the same halacha. Zayin. Kishe eira yom shemes aviv o imo ba'adar. Okay, so now a person has a parent who passes away in Adar. And it was a Adar, that's Shana Pshuta, was not a leap year. And so there was only one Adar when they passed away. Now, V'ashana me'uberet. And now the next year is a leap year. So you can have another Aleph and another base, just like this year. So what happens? Yit'ane ba'adar sheni. So the Shulchan Aruch paskins, which Adar do you fast? The second Adar. Haga, the Rama writes, no, v'yesh amrim the yit'ane berishon. Some say you should fast on the first Adar. Im lo shemet bishnat ha'ibor ba'adar sheni. Unless they passed away in a leap year and they passed away in Adar Sheni, so then every year afterwards it's always going to be, whenever it's a leap year, it's always going to be Adar Sheni. And that's the minhag. So the minhag by Ashkenazim is they fast for sure on the first Adar. And then he says no, and some in Europe, they had the minhag also to fast on both Adars. So generally the psak that's given for Ashkenazim, well, it depends. It really depends who you ask, but often you'll get the answer, you should fast on the first one, and it's better if you can also fast on the second one. That's the opinion of the Rama and the opinion of the Aruch Shulchan. It's also the opinion of the Magen Avram and the Mishnah Berurah if you accept it as a minhag. But if you accept it as a neder, then they hold you have to keep midin both. Now let me just take a step back and then we'll come back. In general, for Adar Aleph and Adar Beis. So in general, what is the real Adar, an Adar Stam? So basically you have nafkaminas for Tainis, Purim, Shtaros, Gittin, contracts, Bar Mitzvah, Nedarim, Yurtzeit, and Birkas HaChodesh. Those are basically where it comes up. So I just want to point out, so let's just do a real quick sikum of the sources. So the Gemara discusses it really bekitzer, it's a machlokas in the Gemara in Nedarim, Samach Gimel. There it's a machlokas between Rabbi Yehuda and Rimeir. Rabbi Yehuda says, Stam Adar always means Adar Aleph. Rabbi Meir, as Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir says it's always Beis. So the Rosh and the Ran paskin that it's always Aleph, like Rabbi Yehuda, and the Rambam paskins it's always Beis, if you knew about it. If when he wrote the contract he knew that there was a leap year. So the Rambam says it's always Adar Beis, like Rabbi Meir. So how do we paskin? So depends. In Choshen Mishpat, when it talks about Shtaros, if you write in Adar, it's just Stam. So there, the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramas and the Aruch HaShulchan say the halacha is clearly just Adar Aleph. The real Adar for Shtaros is Adar Aleph. Like if you have two contracts and there's a lien on a property or on somebody and a person can only pay one of them, who do you pay? You go by whichever star came first. So if one is an Adar Stam and one is Adar Beis, so then they would say you pay only the person in Adar Aleph, unless there's sufficient funds for both. Or the Adar Stam, because Adar Stam is Aleph. That's the Shulchan Aruch and the Rama. Then by Yeridea, when it comes into Nedarim, so if a person makes a neder and says the beginning of Adar, Rosh Chodesh, so everyone says that's Adar Aleph. And if a person says the end of Adar, everyone says that means the end of Adar Beis. Because there it's a little bit of both. because it has the expression of before and after, and the concept of Lashon Bnei Adam, etc. So that's how they paskin by Nadarim. Even Ezer by Gittin. So the Shulchan Aruch doesn't explain, but the Ramah says it's Adar Aleph, and you can have a get pasel. If you write a get muktam, if it happened in Beis and you wrote just Adar, it's a get pasel lagamri midaraisa. And but if you did it the other way around, it would be kosher. That's the Ramah. Shulchan Aruch doesn't give his opinion, and but anyway, they all say l'maisa. You should always, whenever you write a shtar, you should always specify if it's Adar Aleph or Adar Beis. Okay. Now, the Shach, the Bach, really more of an order. The Bach, the Shach, and the Gra, they all hold that both of them are Mar'ikar Adin, different than the Ramah. So they would say you always have to hold of both. You always have to fast on both. For Nadarim, you always have to be Choshesh for both. They would pasel Gittin at least lechatchila. If it would be a get mu'uchar, even that's the Rabbanan, or a get muktam, they'll go both ways l'chumra. Either because it's a suffix, depends how they understand. Could be. If it's the wrong Adar, because now it's a get. That's also a machlokas. Because it could be a sveika. Yeah. So it depends. Perhaps according to them, it's lechatchila, it's pasel, or even b'diavad. Not 100% sure, but it's a definite problem. I think the Shach says he would pasel it, but anyways, or the Bach, and everyone has their own little nuance. But so then you have to be Mayan. So that's for Gittin. Okay, so how does it come out for Yurtzites again? So according to the Ramah and the Orach Shulchan, you only have to fast on the first one. According to the Magen Avram and the Mishnah Berurah, it depends if you make a neder or a Kabbalah just mitzad minhag, or just a Kabbalah without the lashon of a neder. And the Shach and the Gra would say you have to fast on both. And Sfardim would always just do the second one. Sfardim only hold of the base. And just to help understand, now the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah don't really explain their opinions, how it flows on every different sugya. The Gemara doesn't discuss all the sugyas, and so just to explain real bekitzer, so everything makes sense and flows from one to another. Again, some Achronim seem to say it just seems to be a stira with certain issues, but basically keep in a few things. The Gemara does say Shtaros and Nedarim are talui zebazeh. Okay? And Shtaros, Gittin, and Nedarim. And one good mahalach is that both Adars, Aleph and Beis, are both Adar. And that's why we see that sometimes what's Asr behesped with one is also Asr with the other one. So they both have an element of being Adar. Just the machlokas is which is the Ikar Adar. If you put a date on it, which one is really the main one? But they both have an essence of the day. And a lot of it depends on what's Belashon Bnei Adam, by Nadarim and Shtaros. So therefore, often when it comes to a shtar or a neder, it depends on the actual day that you list. But when it comes to being a bar mitzvah, right, or a birthday, everyone holds, it goes by, it happens to be a machloket rishonim, but lamaisa, everyone holds that to be bar mitzvah, 100, everyone holds, it only goes by the second Adar. That's not a machlokas. Some say l'chumra, a bar mitzvah boy should wear his tefillin starting from the first Adar, especially if the Shach and the Gra Shita and the Bach. So that's based on them. But Mikar Din, they don't have to, but that's better. And the difference is, because we said when it's dates, it goes by the Ikar Adar. But when it comes to a bar mitzvah, it goes by years. You need to be 13 years, and both Adars are Adar. So therefore, you need to be alive for the 13th year has to be completely completed. Not mostly, it doesn't go by the Ikar, it's not Ruba Kakulo, but okay. So that explains that one. For Yurtzeit, it either goes by a full 12, you need a full year to go by, That'd be the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch. And the Ramah is either you go by the Ikar Adar Aleph, or because it just goes, really we look for a Yud Beis Chodesh. We're not looking for a full year, we're looking for Yud Beis Chodesh. That explains that one. And Purim, it's a machlos in the Gemara. Obviously we paskin it goes in the second one because we want to be somach geula to geula of Nisan. Another opinion says ein ma'avirin ala mitzvos. You want to do the mitzvah right away. But again, that has nothing to do with which is the Ikar Aleph. It's where did Chazal want to put Purim into. Doesn't matter which would be the Ikar Adar. Okay, so should we stop or finish? Stop? All right.
Got it.